In this video, we're ready to start working in the section called clauses. And we don't need to import anything from this Word document. When we look in the document with all these sentences, in clauses, they start out very simply. That man is John. John is a man. This tree is tall. Most of these are using different senses of the verb to be. There is a rooster in this house, an existential sense. John is interpreted, a locative sense. This book is for John, a benefactive sense, a temporal sense, an accompaniment sense, etc. If we go down, relative clauses start in clauses 124. So for this video, let's work on the first 23 sentences. So we'll generate those sentences. We want to save them, not compare. And we want clauses 1:1, clauses 1:23. And I'll time-lapse this. Okay, let's see how they turned out. So we have some issues here. A rooster is in that house. There is a rooster in that house, so this is an existential. That's a perfectly valid sentence, but that's not what this sentence is conveying. This wants to be an existential. This book is for John. John is with Mary. Okay, so some of these are very simple, just theta grid adjustment rules. Let's work on the simple ones first. Okay, so this book is for John. So we see that this is a benefactive sense of the verb to be, and we haven't yet initialized this theta grid adjustment rule. For English, we just want to set that to _1, and we want the preposition for in there. Generated text is identical. Let's save it. John is with Mary. John is from Turpin. Okay. The baby's name. Let's go work on these three. So this is saying John is with Mary. So the verb to be, this is the accompaniment sense of the verb to be. For English, we just put the word with. Okay. The next one, John is from Turpin. So this is the birthplace sense of to be. Generated text is identical. Save it. That baby's name is John. Okay, so we haven't yet specified the generic genitive relationship between baby and name. So double click here. So double click here on generic genitive. Okay, baby's name, so we want a Saxon genitive. The baby's cow. Okay, I'm not sure where that came from. We'll say Saxon genitive though. For this sense of the verb to be, we can tag this as unnecessary. Okay, let's save it. Okay, let's work on this one later. The story is about John. That's another theta grid adjustment rule. John is like Peter. Okay, let's work on these three. The story is about John. Okay, save it. Let's come back to this one. This one is another theta grid adjustment rule. John is like Peter. We want the word like. Okay, we don't have like yet. And beneficiary. I'm curious what that's about. Oh, that person's like a light for all the people. Luke 179. Okay. John is like Peter. Okay. Now let's go back to the one about the age. John is 20 years old. So we have the verb to be. We have a predicative adjective phrase, then the adjective old, and then an embedded noun phrase with 20. We don't need this theta grid adjustment rule for the cardinal number. Let's tag it as unnecessary. Okay, we can approach this a couple of ways. We could either write a theta grid adjustment rule for be with this sense, or for old. Either one would be fine. Let's write it for the verb to be. Let's say this theta grid is unnecessary. Okay, so let's work on this theta grid. And let's apply a noun phrase here. No, not a noun phrase. We want an adjective phrase with an embedded noun phrase. And the word here is old. And there will be an adjective phrase in here with a cardinal number. This will be a cardinal number. It might be the baby is 8 days old, or 8 months old, 8 weeks old. We won't specify a noun in here, whether it's weeks or years or months. So in this construction, whenever we have someone is a cardinal number with some units old, we want to position this noun phrase before the adjective. John is 20 years old. So this cardinal number and whatever units are here, years, weeks, months, will be before the adjective phrase. So let's add a feature to this noun phrase. We have a feature, noun phrase, location, and phrase. Let's add another value to that. If we go to noun phrases and NP location and phrase, let's call it pre-genitival. Not pre-genitival, pre-adjective. Okay. So now we can select that value. So now this noun phrase will have a feature value pre-adjective. Now we need to update our phrase structure rule for adjective phrases so that it will know to put this noun phrase before the adjective. Okay. So now we go to our phrase structure rule for adjective phrases. And let's put it in here. Insert new constituent. Let's say a noun phrase, and its position is pre-adjective. And we'll put it there for now. We may find out later it should be up somewhere up in here, but for now it'll be put right there before the adjective. John is 20 years old. Let's save it. Okay, that's good for this video. These two are going to take a bit of work, so we'll save those for the next video.